my viewers, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up by tapping on the like button, and be part of the conversation by sharing your thoughts and contributions in the comment section down below. Now I welcome you to another video where we explore the complex dynamics of race and wealth, focusing on how Black individuals experience palm color anger and scrutiny when navigating predominantly palm color spaces. From solo travelers in luxury hotels to educated Black women facing subtle biases in high-end settings, the discussion reveals a troubling pattern of covert hostility. In this video, witness first-hand accounts of our fellow Black sisters encountering unexpected prejudice and discover how this insidious rage impacts not just individuals but the broader social fabric. So join me as we take a look into these personal stories and the deeper implications of race and class in contemporary society. Take a look at the videos. I will be right back.
White people are very intrigued by Black people who are in places that they don't assume Black people should be. Oftentimes when I am traveling and I'm in five-star hotels and I am to myself, white people not only are intrigued, but they want to have conversations with me. I travel solo for a reason, and the way people come up to me with curiosity, well, where are you from? So what do you do? It's almost like, for lack of a better term, it's almost like a circus to them. When I was at the Four Seasons in Bali and I'm at the chef's table dinner, someone at the table next to me wants to come over and start talking to me. When they see me alone, feel like they need to entertain me, when actually I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I'm good.
Oh, true. And unfortunately, I've experienced this on more than one occasion, especially when traveling. But one place in particular, Morocco. I don't know why these people act like they are not in Africa. Like, you are literally in the motherland, but because they are way up there, they just seem to, yeah, that's a whole different story. But Morocco definitely will make you feel like, you jigaboo, how did you get here? So I remember this trip. It was for my girl's 40th birthday. It was a pretty large group of us. Let's say there were about 10 of us. And one of the first areas where we experienced this was in, I think it was in Chefchaouen. And we went out to dinner one night at a very nice restaurant because my girls got taste and class. So we are dressed up, and we know, look, we know Black folks, if it's one thing we're going to do is we're going to come dressed. Nothing over the top, but dinner attire. And again, we're in Morocco. So classy, nothing cliche or anything like that, but it didn't matter because we still got the what y'all doing here look. It was so damn awkward. I just remember we walked into the restaurant and it got so quiet. So quiet. You would have thought we walked in with monkeys on our shoulders, you know, like dog walking. You would have thought that we just came in with some of the most outlandish outfits, behavior, anything. No, we were going to dinner. We were a group of polished, well-traveled, educated, beautiful women, and the educated part shouldn't even matter. We paid our money to be there, but still everyone in that damn restaurant stopped and was just like, they were fascinated, and it was so awkward because everybody could tell. So we get to the table and we kind of like give each other that look, like the Black people know that look where it's just like, oh, okay, this is what we on. So we just kind of gave each other that look, whatever. We went on about our dinner, but we still could tell that people were staring at our table. Again, there is nothing in this group that says right, but they were just so fucking weird, so weird. And so finally there's this one table that's the closest to us, and it's a group of white women, and they weren't like white American. I think they were from like Norway or Swedish or something like that. Finally, one of the representatives gets up enough nerve to come over to our table. Y'all, she came over to our table and was just like, I'm sorry, I knew we were staring, but I just had to come over. Like, you women are beautiful. You are absolutely beautiful. And everybody's like, okay, cool, thank you. And then she asked the question, is it like a special occasion or something? Is someone getting married? Now, because she asked that question, thankfully we all knew why she was asking that question. Nobody gave her what she wanted to hear. Nobody gave her, we're here celebrating a birthday, because we did not. Like, we knew this intuitively, just like that Black girl magic energy. We knew why she was asking the question. And so one of my girls was like, no, we just decided to hop on a plane and take a trip. And so here we are. Man, this lady's flabbers were gassed. She was shocked, like, just hopped on a plane? There's no occasion. I need y'all to do better. When you see Black men or Black women in different spaces, let me just tell you, we do travel to other places other than Jamaica and Punta Cana. It's weird. Quit making it awkward for everybody. Okay, bye.
Being Black and upper class has in no way been a persecution for me. It has, however, been a front row seat to a kind of white rage that affects everyone, no matter what social, racial category you slot into in society. This rage flies under the radar, it's made invisible, it's been around for a long time, it runs on the same economic, political playbook that it has since the end of the Civil War, and it's hurting all of you. All of you. Unless you're Jeff Bezos, but that's not you. A very small example of this is a couple of years back, I was all dressed up with Black and white cousins. We're all dressed up. There's a good group of us, maybe 12, and we're going to the symphony. This symphony is it's manned by tons of volunteers, right? People who want to help you, people who are excited to see young people come to the symphony. And we get there and I've got my 8 or 9 tickets all connected. And this older white woman, member of my community, is doing the scanning. I can tell from the get-go, she doesn't really want to help me. She's peeved. And I'm thinking, why? I've got this huge group of people coming in. Like, this is a win for the local community symphony. So she scans all my tickets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She gets to the 8th or 9th one. I don't remember how many exactly we had. It doesn't beep. Now, mind you, I had to pick up these tickets at will call with an ID, with my name. And she knows this because she's a volunteer before I come to her. She scans the last ticket that has the symphony's name on it. I mean, it's got all the official stuff. And she explodes with this quiet anger and this total frustration. Like, she's just like, she knew it. She knew I was a thief. And she loudly, in front of everybody, accuses me basically of stealing a ticket and attaching it to the legitimate tickets, which is how you should do crime. Now, that's a ridiculous thing. We sorted it out. We found out that yes, while she was following the rules as to what to do if, I guess, a thief comes and attaches a fake ticket to a bunch of real tickets, she did not know how to use her scanner properly. But instead of having customer service, instead of thinking about how one should approach this, she responded with the anger that was already inside of her. She'd already assumed and knew that this kind of place was not for people like us. And she didn't want to have to let us in. And if she could get us out on a technicality, on a quiet rule, and she threw up her hands, I can't help you, I can't do anything, she would. That is a very tiny, low stakes example of the work Carol Anderson, as a historian, has done in looking at the documented and demonstrated examples of rulemaking and code making that certain people in higher classes have used to quietly make sure that lower class whites and Black people with wealth cannot get ahead. When Carol Anderson decided to write White Rage, it had come after she'd been asked for the Washington Post to write an op-ed in the wake of August 2014 when the Black Lives Matter riots were exploding. Her critique was that we were looking at Black rage. We were looking at physical anger, destruction of property, all those different things. And she was making it very clear in that first essay and then in her book that you can't understand this rage unless you understand the other kind of rage. That's the rage that uses your political power, your legal power, to write laws and little caveats into things to make sure that you undermine the wealth of people believed to be Black, and you make sure that people who are believed to be white, who are in lower classes, never politically come together with those people. Now, who does that cost? It costs the democracy, and it costs all sorts of other classes that aren't in the ruling class. Because what they're doing is you're undermining, as she shows in her book, you're undermining voting rights. You're undermining this ability for the lower classes to look at each other and go, hey, our taxes should be going toward X, Y, and Z. Carol's research, I should say Miss Anderson's research, is an invitation to look at the kind of responses that have legally always existed to the advancement of Black people or the advancement of lower classes coming together and saying, this is how we would like to be treated. She's making it clear that if we don't look at the playbook, we're going to miss it in today's age. It's not something that happened back then. It's something that's happening now. We're going to be looking at this work because there's going to come a point in time when you are trying to rightfully access something that is yours, and you're going to be told that if it is given to you or if you want it, it's probably because you stole it or you shouldn't have it. As a historian, she's making these brilliant connections about how this is an assault on Black middle class, but then you can go out and see it's also the middle class as a whole. It's really important that we contextually understand our history because we're all bound up together, and all of our lives and our pursuit of happiness and liberty, it's connected. And there are reasons that people don't want you to understand that, because you become dangerous when you know that. You're less of a victim and you're more of a threat. So I'm excited to read this book. If you've read this book, if you finished it, if you know of any other things of Carol Anderson's that you just really particularly want to look at, please write in the comments.
Now, I don't think we talk enough about the mental and emotional toll that comes with being a Black professional in predominantly palm-color spaces. This is something that a lot of people have been struggling to navigate throughout their career, as well as having to support many of their fellow Black clients struggling with the same problem. Now, let me read out an article by a fellow Black person, and it says that this issue came up in a session with a client of mine who is a doctor and is incredibly brilliant and talented. This client mentioned how she sometimes felt like she had to dim herself down to make her palm-color colleagues and authority figures more comfortable. At times, she felt comfortable enough to exert her knowledge and talent, only to find that it would intimidate her palm-color superiors. Because her institution raves about being liberal and valuing diversity, people seem to be surprised when she calls out the microaggressions and covert articism and sexism present in her workplace. Some institutions may feel like they've done enough because they have a diverse group of employees and host anti-art the meetings a few times a year. Yet the structure, culture, and policies of the institution is still built on palm-coloredness. It is not enough to just hire more Black professionals when the system in which the institution is built upon is articist and upholds palm-color supremacy, unless the institution becomes aware of the ways it upholds palm-color supremacy and makes conscious efforts to dismantle it. Black employees are still susceptible to microaggressions, covert articism, and have to deal with policies that are short-sighted and harmful. Black professionals may also end up having to carry the burden of educating and calling out the ever-present articism, sexism, and microaggressions. Some Black professionals working in these palm-color liberal spaces may feel like they can't speak up because, well, this is as good as it's going to get. Now, the article goes on and says, my client once shared with me something that really resonated when she said, am I supposed to feel good for making it into the 0.25% of my field? Meaning only 0.25% of doctors in her specific specialty are Black women. According to a NY1 article, Black women make up only 2% of the general physician workforce in the US. I understood my client's sentiment all too well as a Black woman myself, who makes up only about 2% of the mental health field, while 72.7% of therapists in the US are palm-color and 76% are women. According to APA's Center for Workforce Studies, Black people make up only 4% of the psychology workforce as of 2015. Now, this means as Black, especially Black women providers in this country, we are constantly having to navigate palm-color dominated spaces. Not only is this lonely and isolating, it is also mentally exhausting to have to create a space for yourself in spaces that were never meant for you. Just imagine how brilliant and talented my client has to be to defy all odds and make it to that 0.25%. Yet she constantly finds herself in a position where palm-color colleagues and superiors are surprised or even threatened by her talent and brilliance. Imagine the pressure of being only 0.25% of your field. Mediocrity is never an option, otherwise you wouldn't make it. So as Black professionals, we are constantly finding ourselves in the space between needing to be 3 steps ahead, work 3 times harder, and be exceptional, while also needing to dim our light just enough so that we don't threaten our palm-color colleagues and those in positions of authority. My client shared with me experiences of having her knowledge questioned because she had insight to information that her palm-color senior resident didn't have, having to deal with her palm-color superiors taking credit for her work, and constantly having to deal with intellectual gaslighting and microaggressions that cause her to question herself. Now, this video highlights a significant issue where Black individuals experiencing financial success or occupying spaces traditionally reserved for palm-color people often encounter unexpected hostility. Now, this phenomenon reflects underlying racial sentiment and the discomfort some may feel when confronted with Black excellence. It's important to recognize that such reactions are rooted in deep-seated racial prejudices and anxieties about shifting social dynamics. Now, coming to what one of the sisters said in the video, in luxury environments, Black people sometimes face scrutiny that goes beyond mere curiosity. The video illustrates how this bias manifests from invasive questions in five-star hotels to subtle forms of exclusion. This bias is a form of racial microaggression that underscores how even seemingly neutral or upscale spaces are not immune to discriminatory attitudes. The experiences shared in the underline underline a broader issue faced by Black professionals, navigating environments where their presence is often met with skepticism or hostility. Now, this can range from overt discrimination to more covert forms of prejudice, impacting their social and professional interactions. And understanding these experiences sheds light on the systemic nature of racial bias and its impact on our everyday life. Now, the implicit biases play a significant role in how Black wealth is perceived. The video points out that despite financial success, Black individuals may still be viewed through a lens of suspicion or entitlement. Now, this implicit bias is part of a larger pattern of racial disparities where wealth is not always recognized as legitimate or deserving when it comes from Black individuals. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.